Hello, welcome to 3 o'clock with SOC. Give me a moment to invite our Spanish-speaking guests. Bienvenido y gracias por ver 3 o'clock con SOC. Si quieres acceso al programa en español, por favor, marque ese número que aparece en la pantalla, ¿cuál es? 646-749-3122. Cuando le conteste su llamada, marque 779-328-221. I'm Andrea Rodriguez. I am the Leadership Coordinator for Southside Organizing Center. I just let our Spanish-speaking guests know that we do have a live interpretation line. That number is 646-749-3122. And then when you call into that, you just mark the number 779-328-221 when you are prompted. We do look to do live translation for every single one of our live forums and SOC events, our virtual ones, and eventually, hopefully with enough COVID-19 vaccinations, we can actually start doing some in-person events again. Also, in addition to that, our live forum you can reach on our Facebook page and also our YouTube channel. A lot of great topics we've been doing for almost a year now. It'll be a year April 6th. Joining me today for our producer is Marlene Zoran. She's also our public health coordinator. We also have Travis Hope. He is in our comments today, going to be giving us a lot of great links to a lot of things that we're going to be talking about on today's forum. So I'm excited for that. Coming up is going to be our guest, Jeanne Geraci. She is the Executive Director of the Benedict Center. Today we're going to be discussing the MPOWER Stakeholder Meeting. Very excited to be talking about this information, and we will have that up next.
To serving justice-involved women in the criminal justice system. And we do.
Geraci, Executive Director of the Benedict Center. Hello, welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Excellent. We're so thankful to having you and our partnership that we have at Southside Organizing Center with the Benedict Center. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and let us know a little bit about your organization.
Thank you so much. So as you said, I'm the Executive Director of the Benedict Center. My name is Jeanne, and the Benedict Center is an agency that's dedicated to serving justice-involved women in the criminal justice system. And we do that by providing direct services and by advocating for systems change in order to make a bigger impact in the community. So one of the main things that we do is we provide substance use treatment and mental health treatment for women on an outpatient basis. And one of the programs that we've been partnering on with Southside Organizing Center is a Sisters program. We are located, our Sisters program has a drop-in center on the South Side, and that program is designed specifically for women in the street-based sex trade.
Excellent, excellent. And we know that you work in so many different facets and collaborations. Let us know a little bit about some of the other arenas that you're also working with in addition to what the Sisters is doing and what Benedict Center is doing as a whole as well.
Sure. So we're when we're working with women in the criminal justice system, in many instances, institutions within the criminal justice system are referring women to us for treatment and support and case management, many times as an alternative to incarceration. And our viewpoint is that if women's real underlying issues are substance use, trauma, mental health, poverty, then what's really going to help them make changes in their lives is that treatment and that support and that connection to resources, as opposed to simply doing that broken cycle of incarceration, release, nothing really magically changes.
Exactly, and actually increasing trauma and going that route. So
absolutely. And a criminal record creates these future barriers for employment, for housing. It also separates children the majority of women in the criminal justice system are mothers. And so we're also creating a trauma for those children as well.
Excellent. We're so proud at Southside Organizing Center to do our part to make sure that residents are engaged and understanding your organization and what you all do for our community. Let us know about some of the resources and programs your organization does that the community can utilize.
Very good. Well, if you are a woman who has a substance use disorder, or you're struggling with how your substance use is impacting your life, we're a place that you can call judgment-free and try and help connect you either to the outpatient services we have, or to an agency that's a good match for you, depending on what it is you need. If you have a loved one who might be in a circumstance that you think that this could help, feel free to give them our contact information. Feel free to give us a call and learn a little bit more about us, or go to our website and then share that information. The Sisters program, which is located on the south side, is a place for women in the street-based sex trade. And so if you know someone who's in that circumstance, you can let them know there's a drop-in center on 2nd and Orchard. You don't need an appointment. You can just drop by. Or you might even see out in the community our street outreach van that has our logo on it, and know that what we're doing is connecting with women, offering resources, and trying to help them with their health and safety. Also, we talked about the fact that many times residents might be concerned from a quality of life standpoint or a safety standpoint if they see women and it looks like they're engaging in the sex trade, or if they see someone who's been using drugs and maybe they're kind of passed out or something like that, and you're concerned for their welfare. So if it's a life-threatening emergency, always please call 911. But if you're just noticing a pattern of activity happening and it's troubling you and you'd like to call an additional resource, you can contact our Sisters program and let them know approximately where and when and what you're seeing, and we can try and direct our street outreach team there during their regular course to try and offer resources to those women.
Excellent. And I know we're going to be putting it in the comments a little later, but can you remind us the number to the Sisters?
Yeah. So, we have a Sisters drop-in on the north side and on the south side. So Sisters program south is 414-346-4406. That's 414-346-4406. Our program director's name is Melinda Hughes, and she or one of her staff can take a message and make sure that gets to the right place. We don't have the resources, unfortunately, to be able to respond immediately, but we'll definitely take that information and do our best to follow up.
And Melinda's been a guest on our forum a few times now, and I know it's just so incredible the work you're doing and the outreach team. And we realize, hours can be very limited, but they are doing such great routes out there and really connecting with people. One of the great projects that we're all involved in, and SOC is a partner of as well, is the MPOWER Stakeholder Work Group. Could you let our residents know a little bit about what that is, the history of it, and any kind of calls to action you may have to residents about it?
Thank you so much. So MPOWER is an acronym. It stands for Milwaukee Providing Opportunity for Wellness, Empowerment, and Recovery. And what it is a project to create what we call a cross-sector collaboration. Cross-sector, what does that mean? It means instead of working in silos, we want to bring law enforcement, social services, residents together to try and work on the issues that come up when we have a street-based sex trade entrenched in certain streets and neighborhoods like we do. And the idea is to understand that women in the street-based sex trade are highly victimized by violence. And many of them may have been or maybe currently are being sex trafficked, which means somebody is forcing them or manipulating them to be doing what they're doing. For others, it might be sheer survival. Something a lot of people don't know is that at least 50% of the women are actually homeless, street homeless. So if we'd wish that they would go somewhere else, they don't actually have another place to go, or they have to trade sex just to have a roof over their head. And you can imagine in Wisconsin winters what that looks like. So our approach and our push and our goal for this project is that we need to find ways to support women, to help women get connected to the resources that will help them make real changes in their lives, and that arresting them, sending them to jail, that's not really working. It hasn't been working. So the idea with MPOWER is, how do we create a diversion program so police, instead of arresting women, would have another option. They could instead divert them to the Sisters program. And there is really an access point for women to be able to get connected to all kinds of resources. We don't have every single resource women need. So that's where the partnership is really important. We have a great partnership with the housing division, and that is critical, since women told us that housing was the #1 barrier for them to be able to move forward in their lives. So now that we're working with the housing division, since we started working together, over 70 women have received housing navigation services from women, which is really a fantastic piece. Many women do have substance use disorders. We know that we have an opioid crisis, and we're definitely seeing that with the women that we're working with. And so being able to connect them to services so that they can work through that as well. And then just that ongoing support. There's a lot of stigma that's associated with it. And so it can be kind of daunting. It can be kind of hard to walk through the doors of a place and ask for help. So we're offering this judgment-free space for women to be able to come in, and we do kind of a triage, right? If you're in crisis, we'll help you through that crisis, especially if you've recently been sexually assaulted, which is unfortunately all too common for women in the street-based sex trade. If it's emergency housing, if it's medical care, if it's detox, whatever it is, we can triage and connect you. It can also just be a place where you can have a safe place to rest, because if you're homeless, if you've been out there for a while, sometimes what you need is a meal and a safe place to rest in order to even have a clear thought to think to the next level. So, sorry, back to MPOWER. The idea is, how do we work with law enforcement, the district attorney's office, the Milwaukee Police Department, the city attorney's office? How do we work with the criminal justice system to create the mechanism to diverting women to services instead of arresting them? And then on the other side, how do we make sure there are enough services for this population? Many people may not realize, hey, if they're homeless, why don't they just go to a shelter? Well, the reality is, on any given day, there's a huge waiting list for shelters. We don't have enough shelter beds in Milwaukee, much less, if you're in a shelter, you're still homeless. So really, ultimately, people need houses, and housing is also in crisis in Milwaukee in terms of affordability. If you've got no income, where do you begin? So we need to make sure that that housing is there. It's pretty hard to deal with a substance use disorder if you're homeless. So imagine trying to quit using drugs while you're homeless, right? So we want to get people into a safe shelter or housing, and we want to be able to connect them to the kinds of treatment that they need. And again, there's often a waiting list for residential treatment. There's often other barriers that exist, and that's why people don't just get the help that they need. It's about making sure that all those options are available for women. And then, of course, understanding change doesn't happen overnight. It may have taken years for a person to get into the place where they're at. This didn't just happen because they wanted it or they chose it. It often starts early in childhood with trauma, with abuse, with poverty, and then layers and layers of trauma and experiences. So it's exciting because we have, at our stakeholder meetings of the whole, easily 39, 40 people regularly coming to our quarterly meetings. If you're interested in coming, please contact SOC, because we do want residents and stakeholders in the neighborhood to be involved. You're impacted by this issue, and so we want to understand your perspective. We want to share the information and the knowledge we have, and we don't have all the answers. So part of what this is really all about is how do we come together and creatively solve this problem, not just put a Band-Aid on it, but get to some real solutions.
Absolutely. And I know in my short time that I've been able to collaborate with you as a leadership coordinator for MPOWER, I've learned so much, especially about some of the red tape and bureaucracy that comes with some of these processes in order to really help these families permanently. And I think something that I'm always trying to be mindful of, especially when I'm working with others, as you know, we have to make sure that we are calling these women, these are residents.
Yeah.
Let's treat them like residents. And, you know, with that thought, you know, I also just want to be very clear that, you know, COVID-19 has put a lot of resident meetings on hold, but it is our intention at SOC that we are letting our organizers know about the updates with MPOWER and that they're taking that information to the resident group meetings so then residents can therefore be a part. But I will definitely have my email in the comments today if any viewers want to learn more about how to be a part of this group. We're going to be having another meeting on May 25th. So I'm happy to make sure that I help anyone with that. Are there any other parts of MPOWER that you would like to update residents about before we move on?
Sure. Well, what I can tell you is, and something that I think is really exciting, is that Captain Salazar, who's your captain in District 2, he is very engaged in this project, and he wanted to be able to have his officers start finding ways to help women right away. And so he has initiated what we're calling a trial run of the community officers that are part of something called a community prosecution unit, to have them go out and talk to the women, not to try and get them in trouble, not to arrest them, not to try and investigate anything, but just to say, hey, have you heard about the Sisters program? Would you be interested in some help? We have some information about that. Do you need a ride? We can call the homeless outreach team and they could give you a ride to the Sisters program. And so really kind of shifting the officers to doing what they consider or call wellness checks, and to try and shift into that role of being helpers, not just law enforcers, if you will. And so it's a way of the police being able to do something proactive, but also something that's responsive to the fact that women really do need help more than they need a ticket or an arrest, if we expect anything to get better. So they've started doing that. We're in constant kind of contact as we're assessing and figuring out how do we do this better. And while the police are taking that initiative, which we're really happy that they want to experiment and try doing something different that's helping the women, we also have our own street outreach team that is reaching easily 230 women in a 6-month period of time. Last year, we had well over 2,000 conversations with women through our street outreach team. So we don't need to wait just for the police to make an invitation to the women to come to the Sisters program. But again, the idea of cross-sector collaboration is that there's no wrong door, right? And that multiple places are understanding the issue and helping women get to where they need. So I would say that's happening. And then in terms of community engagement, we very much want the organizers, the leaders, the residents, the businesses in District 2, which is the near south side, in District 3, the near north side, to be at the table with us and help us understand what would make things better for you. And also to provide some additional options. So you can call the police, you can call us, but also we need to come up with a collective call from the community to ask those with the power to make sure that there are enough resources available for women, so that when they're ready to get help, if they're saying, yes, I'm ready, let all of those options be lined up and ready to go for them.
Absolutely. That is so wonderful. And I do want to just give a little shout out. We love that the housing division is a part of this. We love that District 2, but also the fact that the Medical College of Wisconsin and everything is so data backed and driven. Do you want to tell us a tiny bit about that partnership now that I'm throwing that question?
Yeah, sure. So this is a grant that we wrote about 4 years ago to the United States Department of Justice to create this collaboration and to create solutions like the pre-arrest diversion. And so the Milwaukee County Housing Division is actually the lead agency. The Benedict Center is very involved. The Benedict Center said, we don't want to do anything without community engagement. So our strategic partner is SOC to help us make sure that we're connecting with you all. And what is also very important, required, but also really good practice, is that we have research and evaluation so that we are, so that we can do what we already know might work best based on other people's experiences, but then also that we measure our results and we know whether what we're doing is working or not, and not so much just yes or no, but continuously getting that feedback and that information so that we can find ways to improve the process as we go forward. So we're really excited about all the resources actually that we're bringing to bear to try and get to some real solutions for this problem. We know it's a long-term project, it's a long-term process, and that's why it was a 3-year grant, and that's just the beginning, right? Mm-hmm. But we're so happy to be here.
Absolutely. And just thinking about the idea of funding, also thinking about the cost to residents for any of the services that you may provide. Mm-hmm. Let us know if they can expect any kind of cost or not, and what that looks like.
Sure. So we recognize that most women we work with have no income or very little income. And so we work hard with our fundraising as well as contracts. So we're privately funded and publicly funded so that all the services we provide to the women are free. But we can't do that by ourselves. And so we count on even individual donations. And in many cases, we have different groups and individuals helping us with what we call in-kind donations. So it might be winter coats for women. It might be brand new underwear for women, especially size 2 to 4. It might be toiletries like toothpaste or deodorant and socks and those kinds of things. So those are the kinds of ways that individuals could help support us, is by perhaps donating items like that. Of course, money donations are always helpful, but more than anything, your understanding around this issue and your support for doing something different, for providing the kind of support that women need so that they can make real changes, that's probably the most valuable thing that we could receive.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, we will definitely have all the contact information and different links in the comments when our interview is airing. But is there anything else that you'd like to add? Any last calls to action or anything you'd like to let our residents know?
I just want to thank you. If you're watching this, if you've been watching SOC shows, it means that you are active and engaged and you care about what's happening in your community, and you realize that change happens from the bottom up. And we love working with SOC because they facilitate this kind of leadership and engagement with residents. And so we're seeking partnership with you and always open to hearing your ideas and whatever questions you might have. We had to record this in advance, but if you have any questions, get them to SOC and we'll get the answers back to you.
Absolutely.
Oh, one more thing, sorry.
No,
Captain Salazar has invited us to present on the MPOWER project at the upcoming District 2 Crime and Safety meeting, which is open to the public. And I don't have the exact date, but SOC can get that information to you. So that will be another opportunity live to be able to ask questions, not only of the Sisters program, but also of the Milwaukee Police Department and some of the other partners that I hope will be there.
Beautiful. We'll make sure we put in the calendar link to that D2. I believe it's the second Wednesday in April, but I know Travis Hope, one of our organizers, will definitely be there, and I'm excited. I'll be present as well, I'm sure, because I don't know if I'm helping in any way. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, no, the more the better.
We always appreciate you, Jeanne, and I always learn so much from you and your team, and we look forward to having you on the forum again.
Likewise. Thank you again, Drea. Take care, everybody.
Thank you. Excellent. Thank you so much to Jeanne Geraci, Executive Director at the Benedict Center. Just going to peek very quick in our comments. It was pre-recorded. They are so busy, and today is actually their staff meeting to align with a lot of goals that we have. But thank you to Travis, who's helping out with our comments today. A lot of helpful links, including my email, like I promised. If you are a resident who would like to get involved with the MPOWER Stakeholder Meetings, May 25th will be our next meeting. Thank you also to Marlene, our public health coordinator. She added in a lot of great tags. If you also found today's information was helpful, please tag, please share this information. Really, it's really important that we are getting as much stakeholders and residents to the table. And like Jeanne said, this is a cross-sector collaboration, which in my mind is what we can use to battle out of the silos and segregated thought that we have here in our city. So a lot of different stakeholders, electeds, housing division, social services, residents, and also community organizations like SOC. So we're really hopeful that you can share this info or tag or reach out to me if you'd like to join us. We would love to have your voice uplifted. I do want to highlight, there she is, Maria de Jesus. Always wonderful to see you. Thank you so much for your emoji. Here's my comrade, Carlos. He said, could you tell us about some of the success stories that MPOWER has had with the victims of human trafficking? Yes. I think the number one success that I can definitely share is the fact that it even exists. Because before this, and again, keep in mind that this is very research-based with the Medical College of Wisconsin. And because of that, you know, there's a lot of evaluation, there's a lot of resource. You may not notice a lot of things immediately, but all good things take time. But the most powerful thing of this for me is the fact that we do have some elected officials that are starting to be a part of our large stakeholder meetings. And those elected officials are also in our community engagement group. There's 3 groups: community engagement, criminal justice, and also a continuum of services, which are social services like Impact 211 would be in that group. So, and I personally love that we have our elected officials right in the community engagement group, right where residents will be. We already know these elected officials are getting briefed about the criminal justice aspect and the continuum of care aspect in other meetings and boards already. So the fact that they're there directly with residents so we can problem solve together, to me, I think is one of the greatest successes. And SOC was at the table to make sure that that negotiated and that happened for residents. So I'm especially proud of that one. Besides that, you know, I will also state that this allows us to, you know, because we have all these stakeholders. And Marlene, if you can go ahead and show us, I know it's a little smaller, but if you'd like me, I can email it to you. I realize it's not easy to see, but little Venn diagram of the 3 work groups. It's in my mind, and thank you, Marlene, for showing that. In my mind, this is the only time that we have had this type of cross-sector collaboration where we are actually making sure every group is accountable. If there is some issues that is happening with certain groups, we're there to come together to problem solve. And as far as I understand, that's not happening in any other groups. It might be starting to, and if they are doing it, we want to make sure that we're working together and collaborating together to bring whatever information to residents. So I'm very thankful for that, that we have that. And again, contact information is in the comments. Please reach out if your resident group wants to be involved or you just as an individual wants to be involved. There is so much to do, and we are looking to have more educational pieces for the public so they can understand some of the complicated things that are part of street-based sex trade that I'm still learning. You know, complicated for housing. It is very complicated. You know, even some of the addiction aspects of it. So, you know, I do welcome all of you to learn about it. One other success I do want to mention as well, before I forget, Carlos, as well, is the fact that at our last stakeholder meeting, District 2 Captain Salazar mentioned this new pilot program that Jeanne mentioned in the video. And right away, we had so many continued care groups saying, we will come with you. We want to join you. And it was very powerful. And I don't think that would have happened unless we have these stakeholders together holding each other accountable. So yeah, no, really excited, really excited. Also, we have links for the Benedict Center in our comments. Again, thank you to Travis for that. If you want to learn how to donate or to give, they are always looking for items for these women and their families. Let's see, up next, we're going to go ahead and have a video from our public health coordinator, Marlene Zaran, and it's going to be a COVID numbers update. And I just scheduled my vaccine for next Monday, so I'm excited. We'll have that up next.
Hello, welcome to 3 o'clock. Hello, welcome to 3 o'clock with SOC. My name is Marlene Zaran, and I am the Public Health Coordinator here at the Southside Organizing Center. I'm going to share with you today some COVID-19 case numbers from the Milwaukee Public Health Department dashboard, and then I'm going to go over some resources for COVID-19 and ways for you guys to better understand who's currently eligible to get their COVID-19 vaccine. So let me quickly share my screen here. So if we look here, you'll see, oh, they're refreshed. All right, if you look here, you will see the City of Milwaukee COVID-19 statistics dashboard. So it tells you as of today, there have been 63,727 positive cases in Milwaukee. There have been 595 deaths. And then if you see here in the last 7 days, the 53215 zip code is in the red zone, so more towards 41 cases. And then when you see the 53204 zip code, there's 36 cases. So those are still in the higher range when compared to all of the other zip codes. And then I wanted to share the 16th Street Clinic website where it shows all of the current eligible individuals that can get their COVID-19 vaccine. So you have adults who are ages 65 years or older, teachers, educators, all school staff, childcare workers, utility desk or communication workers, public transit workers, food supply chain workers such as grocery store workers, cooks, drivers, stockers, non-frontline healthcare personnel, persons, staff living, working in congregate settings, and then faith-based leaders. And then starting March 22nd, individuals with certain medical conditions, if you are 16 years and up, are eligible to get your COVID-19 vaccine. So those that have asthma, cancer, cerebral vascular disease, chronic kidney disease, COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, cystic fibrosis, diabetes mellitus type 1 or 2, Down syndrome, heart conditions such as heart failure, coronary artery disease, or cardiomyopathies, hypertension or high blood pressure, immunocompromised state from solid organ transplant, food or bone marrow transplant, immune deficiencies, HIV, use of corticosteroids, or use of other immune weakening medicines, liver disease, neurologic conditions such as dementia, obesity, overweight, pregnancy, pulmonary fibrosis, which means you have damaged or scarred lung tissues, severe obesity, sickle cell disease, or thalassemia. And then also starting March 22nd is individuals that are living in the 53204, 53206, 53205, 53218, 53215, 53223, 53216, 53209, 53224, 53233 zip codes. Those individuals living in those zip codes now have eligibility to receive the COVID-19 vaccine without having any other chronic issues or diseases. So if you are living in those zip codes starting March 22nd, you can just go right to any of the vaccination facilities once you've registered, and you can get your COVID-19 vaccine right away. And that is from all of that information is on the 16th Street Clinic website, which we're going to share, and the Milwaukee Public Health Department dashboard link, which is in the comments. Thank you and have a good day.
Excellent. Thank you so much to our public health coordinator, Marlene Zaran, for that COVID-19 update. Yeah, I got my vaccination through Hyatt. We had them on the forum yesterday. So grateful for that interview and the fact that they have so many great locations that are popping up. So make sure you're checking the SOC's, our Facebook site and our Instagram. I'm sure we're going to have some great posts for all of you to find your own vaccine, especially if you live in those zip codes. So very grateful for that. Up next, we're going to have our community organizer, Travis Hope, come on and do a safety update.
Hello, good to see everybody. So the second district crime and safety meeting just passed on Wednesday. And basically they were just talking about the TCU unit, traffic safety unit, that's going to be going out. There's links in the comments. Are covering all over the city. It's citywide. So if you have any reckless driving complaints or any areas you'd like to report, you can go to the website and you can report it. And then there's also a Spanish button now too. It says be part of the solution in English and Spanish. And if you click the Spanish one, the website will turn all in Spanish. So it can be done in Spanish or English. So that's an important thing. Let me see what else. They also talked about the top 3 cars that are getting sold right now, which are Hyundai, Kia, and Hondas. If you have any of those cars, please think about getting a club and locking them up. Those are the top stolen cars right now. And car theft, depending where you live in the city of Milwaukee, is up 40 to 60%. So it's very high numbers. So don't leave your keys in the car. That's still happening. People are leaving their keys in the car, warming their car up, and people are stealing it. So those are important things to try to do. Don't leave your keys in the car, and get a club. So that way it will reduce theft. Some of the other things they talked about is just, keep calling the police for gunshots, whatever you call a non-emergency number, or you can call the 911. So all the information is in the comments. Also, there's the Facebook, D2 Facebook. Although the next crime and safety meeting will be in person, they also will do some type of recording on their Facebook. So just stay tuned for that. We'll have more information. And then D6 crime and safety is coming up next Wednesday. And they'll be talking about things that happen in District 6. So you can go to their Facebook also. It's also in the links in the comments. District 6 Facebook. And they'll be talking about, they're having a lot of the same issues as D2. Another thing that's can come up is catalytic converters are getting stolen. So if you're somebody messing around with your car, just keep an eye open. If you get up in the middle of the night, look outside. Just be aware that there's a lot of people targeting vehicles right now. They're either stealing them or they're taking the catalytic converters for the precious metal that's in there. So it's just really important right now to keep an eye on your vehicle. Some of the other things is, even though we got daylight, savings, and we're an hour, ahead. Still, if you see street lights out, report them. Let us know. Let the city know the closest address to the pole. Just so we have street lights out there, so the areas are brighter and more safer. Another thing is we're going to be getting a lot of rain pretty soon. So if you have any clogged drains or whatever and you're physically able, please clear them. If not, then call the city and let them know, because you don't want flooding to happen. So, and that's what's going to be happening pretty soon, is we're going to get a lot of rain. So it's just important to keep an eye on it so you don't get no flooding in your house or your neighbor's house. So I believe that's it for now. So everybody be safe.
Excellent. Thank you so much to Travis Hope, our community organizer, for that safety update. If you would like to join in on any of these meetings, please don't hesitate to reach out to SOC. Also know that, and Travis, if you can put in your email in our chat. I know Travis is always helpful to let you know about any cleanups coming up, because I know those are starting to happen. Not SOC ones right now because we're not doing things in person, but other community events. If you just want the information, please look out on our website, or reach out to Travis directly, or to soc@socmilwaukee.org. Always happy to help you with information. All right, I think we're at the end of our forum. We're so thankful for all of you. We'll also have a link to our survey, so if there's any topics that you would like us to cover, or if you would like to give us any feedback, we're always looking to gain that from our viewers, and we appreciate you all. All right, thank you so much. Be well. See you next week.